Now on to the bottom side video of the On3 single kit for the 05 to 10 3-valve cars. As you can see, some of the tubing hangs kind of low. This is why I highly recommend leaving the car at stock ride height, not lowered. You can see here how the tubing weaves through the stock K-member, and yes, it's tight. This is another reason I heat wrap the shit out of it. Plus, heat wrapping it helps retain all the heat in it. You can see here the hot side itself is fed off of both manifolds. Yes, this is how it's routed, and it comes down. This pipe looks a little funky when it's not covered, but hot side comes down through, comes up, goes to the gate, and it goes up to the turbo. And the downpipe, it's actually got a flat section in it here. A lot of people complain about the flat section, but it flows just fine. Now this is the sway bar relocation kit. It drops the sway bar down. I've had plenty of guys bitching about noise in the front end, and I come to find out that the sway bar location kit will come loose after a couple uses. So if you get a popping noise in the front end over bumps or something, check your sway bar relocation brackets. They may have just come loose a little bit. Normally on the oil filter relocation, I put 290s on here. That's what I've been doing on these kits for some time now. And it puts the hoses in a better routing. You'll see that in the install guide that I have for these kits. Now, yes, things are very close and tight on the driver's side, as you can see with the cold side piping. Cold side piping on this kit is mild, stainless. You can see coming off the intercooler, going up to the throttle body, all that jazz. Now, a lot of guys, I'll recommend, if you want better control on wastegate, dump this pipe atmospherically and then block it off over here. This kit creeps a little bit. This car is making 480, but it creeps from 8 to 10 psi over about a 3,000 RPM bands, and it makes just enough power. And literally, we've been beating on this car for 5 years now, almost. Come December, it's now October when I'm making this video. A lot of guys have been talking about, oh, where do you put the cutout? Where do you put the cutout? I put the cutout on these right here. I extend it back a little bit, fab the pipe into it. You can see here, it's all nice and open all the way through the pipe. It's good breathing. And yes, this actual pipe is hanging down some because it's clearing the drive shaft safety loop. And I brought it down a little bit more to keep it from rattling on there. And it's a very snug fit in here with the drive shaft loop, but it does fit. You see the rear O2s are deleted. No, this is not gonna, this kit doesn't work in emissions friendly areas. One of the first things we always do with these cars is set up the rear suspension. Solid lowers, because the stock lowers suck. Adjustable upper. And of course, a nice set of drag radials are like a must-have for a turbo car. And of course, the one-piece drive shafts. One of the first things we do on any of the kits is the clutch and the drive shaft if needed. Although 5-up stuff needs a drive shaft because that stock 2-piece breaks. But yes. Now, the oil filter relocation kits have changed a little bit. But you can see here, this one's seeping a little bit, and this is an older one. And of course, like I mentioned a minute ago, I put 90s on here to route the hoses away from the hot side. This trick works, but I've heat sleeved the crap out of these oil hoses and routed them up behind the rack, up over the rack, and then back up to the oil filter relocation kit. And I'll cover the oil pan. We punch the pan right here for the drain. It's right in the very front. It clears, it doesn't leak. Make sure you put a lot of tape on that and it won't leak. As you can see, there's tons of tape on this one and it doesn't leak anymore. We had a little issue with it leaking, but we took care of that a couple years ago. But that is an overview of the 3-valve kit on the bottom side. I cover a lot of silly stuff. I don't have a ton of pictures of this kit in our install guide, but it is great because there's a trick. You're always on this one side where I've had to put a couple washers behind these nuts to get them to seal to the manifolds. It's always tricky. Sometimes we even sleeve the inside of the pipe. You can't really see it real well in here, but sometimes it leaks right there. Sometimes pulling those studs out and putting bolts all the way through it will actually clamp that down a lot tighter. You can see where this one was leaking at one point, but it's been fixed. We actually have a little bit of space between the flange and the stud on this one. Some of these I have found that you cannot get that side tight without doing a couple little modifications there. But for the most part, these kits seal up and work just fine. So far, this is video 2 of the 3-valve kits. This is one of our power package cars we did years ago. It's literally been 5 years December, and it's October now. So, trying to bring you all the best data I can for all the On3 kits as always, guys.